You know, I'm actually super duper great dancing when I'm seated. Unfortunately, I've got two left feet the moment I stand to dance. But it's something that I don't care. I'm proud of it regardless. Anyway, but that is a very beautiful song by Kwesi Arthur and Joeboy. And it's rather unfortunate that, you know, all of this is happening to him. We've had a number of celebrities who have shared their thoughts on social media. One person, Nana Banamwa, one very profound. She is very, you know, she speaks her mind, let me put it that way, when it comes to issues like this. And she said something on her X page, which is in relation to the fact that a lot of us are not looking at Kwesi Arthur's mental health, which is very true. That in the post that he made 2 or 3 days ago, he indicated in there that he is going through a lot. And so it's rather unfortunate. But for the sake of upcoming artists, not just that, but for the sake of artists who are already in the game, and for the sake of learning, we ought to bring this conversation up and learn so much from it. And so seated with me this morning, I'm excited that Tilly is here. Tilly. Tilly is the head of PR for Cracks Global. Good morning, Tilly.
Good morning.
Good to have you again.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
It's nice to be had. Happy New Year.
Hope everything is fine.
I'm still waiting for my bronya dear.
My goodness, don't worry. We'll talk about that. Yeah. We'll definitely talk about that. Okay. And then also we have a lawyer who has over 20 years of experience in this. And I'm excited. I'm super honored for her to be here and share. She's about to teach us, okay? She's about to dissect this matter, most especially contract-based, when it comes to the artist and the record label. So that's what we are going to focus on more today. And she's in the person of lawyer Angela Moore. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Yeah. Thanks for being here. Hope you're good. Hope everything is fine.
It's perfect. Thank you so much.
We thank God. We thank God that everything is fine. So earlier I was talking about Nana Banamwa's post. Okay, so we have it up. Let me read it. So it says, imagine trying to own a human being and then using threats to silence them. If you have to bully, manipulate, and sabotage someone to stay relevant, you are not a manager, you're a parasite. Grown men moving like landlords of someone's life, image and sweat. Embarrassing. Release him. Release his work. Stop the... Okay, I can't mention the word. Treat him with dignity and respect. She went on the post where it was a long post, so let me put it that way. It really was a long post. But we had other celebrities also who said quite a lot on their socials. I don't know if you have that ready so that we can play that. And then we would get right into it. Okay, so if you're Nocturnal, also shared something on her socials. Let's take a look at it. Of Efia. Okay, yeah. So it reads, for the first time, we all agree on something and it's beautiful to see. Get the new album. Let's push it for the culture and freedom for every creative in Ghana. This, hashtag Free Kwesi Arthur. This is the agenda. Okay. And then we have Kweku Flick. He also said, I now understand why all our collaborations couldn't happen. I have been worried about this for a long time. Was asking myself, why doesn't he like me? Not knowing it wasn't his fault. I love you, Kwesi Arthur. If God says you are the chosen one, who be man? Don't ever lose your mind, my brother. Stay strong. Your mental well-being matters. And I'm always here if you need me. And then Giovanni Caleb also posted, don't sign off on your future as a talent out of desperation. Get extra eyes involved and document your deal professionally. There are too many warning examples worldwide. It's sad to see what Kwesi is going through. And with this particular post, that is what we are going to dwell on this morning. The contracts, the contract. Let's take this one from Carl Kessie. And it says, you guys just they talk out of emotions. Business has nothing to do with your emotions. You guys never heard of buying yourself out of a contract? Let's contribute $1 each. 150K people equals $150K. Tilly, is that feasible?
The most practical thing I've seen so far.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Kwesi Arthur last year was not that active in the music scene. But when the Spotify list dropped for the most exported artist, he was on the list.
Yes.
Which means that when it comes to the listeners outside of his home, which is Ghana,
Right.
and if we look at Spotify, it usually caters for the UK, whatever market. So if the dollars, we can get.
That's
But
true.
of course, this is something that was thrown out because of Kwesi Arthur's response to the issue. You have to let me know that you are doing this. You can't just jump the gun.
Right.
And be saying, let's contribute.
Let's contribute.
But this conversation is a bit more interesting, and I'm very excited that there's a lawyer here who will give the legal perspective, because we as creatives, we get very emotional about stuff like this, and the response online actually buttresses that point that we are very emotional about stuff. Now, we are talking about mental health. What happens to the investors' mental health, and what happens after this thing? Because this guy, what he did was he posted his press and he added the man's face.
Yeah.
So I checked the post impression, 3.9 million or so. 3.9 million aside, that is his page. Outside of his page, there are many other people with his face on. Now, there was a space by Kwame Dasi.
Yesterday.
Last night with the lawyer for the record label. They spoke about it. And from PR perspective, I really wish there was a rep for Kwesi Arthur on there. Because when they opened the issue up and they talked about it, you could see that whatever was written here was not backed, according to the lawyer and according to the information he shared, it wasn't backed by the truth.
Yeah, so we have that, so we're going to play exactly what the lawyer said. But I want to read a post that Twitch also made. Twitch is an artist also who was with Ground Up Charlie. So let's read exactly what he also posted. And he says that, you, Glenn, you sing before. We leave all the stream money for you. Now the royalties too, you won't take all. Then he continued by saying, all the old songs you still they listen, the money all they go to Glenn for Ground Up. Bump to the new, and stop asking where I am. Some of the words we can't, say it online. Okay, now let's move on. Let's say, so Keso from Tema also said this, for the record, I made 0 Ghana City from Grind Day and the songs from that period. It was a learning experience that shaped how I approach ownership and agreements today. Lawyer Angela, I'll be coming to you shortly. Lalid also, who was with Ground Up Charlie, says, Ground Up ain't got no real deal. They manipulate you with statements on a paper in their favor. That ain't no real deal. I was young and desperate. They took advantage. Okay. I don't know what's happening, but we'll try and get that up for you. But then I want Lawyer Angela to come in on this one, and I would take your initial thoughts. Because definitely you have chanced this on social media. You most probably have been asked a few questions here and there.
Absolutely.
What would be your initial thoughts on this matter?
First of all, I want to acknowledge that we have to be mindful of Kwesi Arthur's mental state at this point, because we all love him. I love his music. And I would want him to be mentally okay while we go through all of this. But the real issue is the law. I've read some of the comments, and I can see that a lot of people are concerned for his well-being. And I think that's the sentiment that we all can share. However, the issue is a legal one. I have not seen his contract yet. That's true. Also, it must be noted that creating and ownership, they're two different things. You may be the person that creates something, but you may have assigned the right to somebody else. That means the economic rights, the money that can be made from whatever you created, you've given it out to somebody else. So, when we talk about these issues, we have to start first from the contract. What did they agree to? And because the courts would generally uphold what the terms of the agreement are. Unless for some reason they find that it is unconscionable or there is some imbalance. I have not had the opportunity to see the contract.
Okay.
So I can't speak to how fair the terms are, but I haven't also heard from Kwesi Arthur that he didn't sign any contract.
Yeah.
You know, he seems to think that his terms are over, that he's no longer in agreement with Ground Up Charlie. So it really depends on what was on the agreement, for how long, what artwork was covered. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So yesterday, community space was created, like Tilly was mentioned earlier, by our very own Kwame Datsi. So we are going to play the bit of the lawyer of Ground Up Charlie. He explained what the contracts that they signed with Kwesi Arthur, that is, and there was an initial contract, and then there was another contract after
maybe a modification.
He released Son of Jacob, which we thought he was out or he had departed from Ground Up Charlie. So let's take a listen to what the lawyer of Ground Up Charlie said.
Clearing from the UK, clearing from Nigeria, clearing copyright and things like that. As of 2022, we were hit with a copyright claim in relation to Winning, which we had to renegotiate and deal with all of that on the low before the album was put out. Now, subsequently, after the album was put out, then Kwesi walked away from Ground Up, even though he had one more year, that's 2023.
Okay. And so, are you suggesting he left before the expiration of the contract?
Definitely, yes.
So he left in which year?
Like 2022, shortly after the release of Son of Jacob.
Okay, so the renewal was it 21?
Exactly, 21.
And then 1 year.
The 4 year ended in 21.
He left. Okay,
yes.
So what did you say to him when he left?
Well, I mean, I didn't have direct conversations with him. Shortly after he left.
When I say you, I mean Ground Up.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that shortly after he left, he instructed U.S. counsel to write to Ground Up and provide a draft termination agreement for the termination of the deal. And I think the terms of that draft termination were not favorable, so they were reviewed. I think they sort of skewed the rights in favor of Kwesi at a time when a lot of the expenses had not been recouped. So the terms of that termination agreement were reviewed, but nothing came of it after that. And since then, so let me conclude on that by saying that since then, the main issue between Kwesi Arthur and Ground Up have mainly been two before this week. First being Kwesi Arthur asserting ownership rights over Son of Jacob, even though it was released under contract, even though it was released with all the support of Ground Up. If you look at even the DSPs, you see that it's under Ground Up. I've just told you, 2022, I was working on clearing for that album. So it came out through the structure. But somehow, Kwesi Arthur claims that album is not Ground Up's. And so Kwesi had been going around to, shops, basically defaming Ground Up, claiming rights to that album, and interfering with the exploitation of that album. So that I would say is the main thing. And then the second thing that has come up this week has to do with his use of footage, images and videos that were recorded during the period when he was under contract. As I've explained, everything that was created during that period is owned by Ground Up.
Good.
And so
this part is of great interest. So these images and footage are those that were captured when he was under Ground Up, right?
The footage that he used to promote the current project. Yes, a lot of the footage that he used to promote the current project. And when you say
when he was under Ground Up, was it after the renewal or the very first signing?
No, they even date back to the very beginning. a lot of them also date back to the very beginning. I think especially the video footage, like it dates back to the time when Kwesi was on the come up. And so it has a certain emotive value. It has, it reminds people of how they felt about Kwesi at that time. And it generated a certain buzz. I think everybody saw the buzz online, how people connected to it. It's all part of the sentiments that those images evoked. And these were all images that he was using without authorization. So that is the communication that was sent to him, that he was using the images and monetizing them without authorization.
There was also a bit of that conversation where, Tilly, I believe you listened, where, per everything that the contracts, the percentage of whatever that will be reaped, 60%, 60-40, initial contract, that was the initial agreement. So the 60, that would go to the record label, and then the 40 would be to the artist. Yeah. Then later, there was a renewal of the contract, but what the lawyer said, in that interview yesterday, and that the second agreement was a 50-50.
Yes.
So that is what. So, Lawyer Angela, I know that listening, you're putting your thoughts together and everything.
So I heard a lot of things. It seems to me that they did try to extend the contract.
Yes.
At some point, I believe Kwesi thought that the terms were not fair to him. So he tried to get out of the contract earlier than what the original agreement stated.
Right.
And so he had his attorney send a letter to the record label saying, can you get me out of this contract? The record label took a look at the agreement and said, these are terms that are not favorable to us. What this means is that the original contract that they signed stayed in effect. They didn't change it.
Yes.
So if he was supposed to stay until 2023, for instance, then he continued to have to, he still had to stay until 2023.
So the contract was expired.
So whenever time it was expired. And so if he did not do that, then at least from the record label's perspective, Kwesi is in breach, right? And they may not take steps to immediately enforce their rights. They may not sue him, for instance, for breach of contract. But they would wait for moments like this when Kwesi now tries to use some of these images and then, now make their point that, okay, we do have a contract. Even though we may not have sued when you did not, stay within the contract terms, but we're still within our rights to stop you from using assets or arts that you, by the contract that you have signed to us, have assigned us the economic rights to. So, there are issues with recoupment, advancement, accounting. It is a money issue.
Yes.
So I think that the way forward will be for the lawyers to get back to the table.
Okay.
Get back to the table, and I don't think they're too far off from reaching an agreement. They just have to get away from the public space, get on the table, look at the terms, look at money, because after all, it's a business for the record label and indeed for Kwesi as well, because I don't think he's singing because, he just wants to sing. He wants to make money.
Yeah.
So I think the best place to do this is, on the paper with the attorneys.
Okay, so I'll come back to you for us to look at what are some of the things that we can avoid.
Yes.
Most especially if you're an upcoming artist and you're trying to get signed on to a record label and all of that. Now, Tilly, coming to you, this is quite a lot, and in the sense that from what Kwesi Arthur, not just Kwesi Arthur is saying, but other artists that were also with Ground Up Charlie, they claim that they got nothing from the record label. What do you make of this?
Okay. So if you take the statement that Kwesi Arthur himself put out first, and then you listen to the lawyer, my very first question I have was, if you say you didn't make a dime the entire period,
yes,
and that includes the first arrangement they had before the renewal, why do you renew something you didn't make money off? So that has always been my first question.
Absolutely.
Because if I didn't make money the initial time and I now finally have waited it out and it has ended,
expired,
why am I renewing it?
Okay.
Yes.
Is it not problematic? Because why would you decide to give your rights back to the people who you claim you didn't get anything from. So that, for me, was the first red flag that I saw.
Okay.
Because if it was, they signed an initial deal that extended a certain period continuously, and he felt like he wanted to be out, then I can say, oh, okay, maybe he didn't get money. But if there was a point where you renewed, it means that you got something or you saw a certain benefit. Absolutely. And that was when the lawyer said he renegotiated. Yeah. So at first it was 40-60, now he said 50-50.
And that was when the Son of Jacob album
Exactly.
came out.
Now you left or you wanted to leave early, but mind you, the label might not have probably recouped their money yet to get whatever they need. So you can leave, we might not fight you, but we still have the right to the assets there and we'll make money. So if you listen to it carefully, there was even a point where some of the deals they had with Platoon, the artists usurped the deal and took the money, and that has been one of the reasons why they are telling him that, listen, some of the assets you are using, including the videos, the images from some videos, so they are not saying you cannot use your image. It is your face.
It is your face.
Use it. But we are saying that we own the copyright to these particular visuals, which for emotive reason you use. So you went back into your archives, the content that they have that they are now trying to recoup their money from, you went to use it without their permission. Now, there are instances, there are emails he shared with Kwame Dazi that they've gone to him and they've told him that, let's resolve this amicably. Let's try, let's get in touch with your father. And he ignored all of that.
And so came public.
Exactly. So their problem for them, they want to trigger another legal issue because they don't see why we are trying to resolve this issue with you backdoor. And they even made him aware that there are going to be ramifications for using this content without trying to go through the proper legal process. So for you to position the conversation that they are trying to stifle your ability to use your own image is a bit misleading, right? Because they are not saying you cannot use your own image. We are saying that the content you picked from the previous ones that we own the rights to and we are trying to recoup our money. Just do your due diligence, that's all.
And that is the amount of money that he stated in his post, $150,000.
Yes. So up until now, there's not even clarity on if that is the buyout money or that is the penalty for using that image. There's no clarity.
That's a good point to make. We don't know if the 150, because somebody suggested $1 times something. But we don't know if that completely buys him out or if that is just for the purposes of this independent project. So maybe one project you have to pay us 150, We don't know what that means for Kwesi Arthur. So I think it's really important to understand because as you mentioned, it's not as if they don't want you to use these artwork or the art or the music, but they are saying that you must do it within the terms of the contract that you signed. And I think it's very important to note that. They cannot own a person. So I've seen comments that says, this is slavery. They cannot own a person. But if a person cannot get a benefit of an agreement, that both parties have the right to examine and make sure it's in their interest before they signed, then what's the point of signing agreements?
Okay, so from the perspective of the record label, Shatta Wale did say something. I want us to take a listen to him and then we'll pick it up from there. So if you have...
Yeah, see Kwesi Arthur first day for sites. The time we play Monday, Tuesday. I thought he put his hand for your back. Come on for your hand for your back. Hey, I'll be your brother. Hey, don't do that. I know they do like that. Your artists where they do like they be senior. Mama, nobody be senior for you. It be God be the senior. I told Kwesi Arthur, see, as the song come, in team game back where they talk to him. I don't know, later I go say, yes, he said he signed some contract with him. And someone said, wow, look. Artists, if you want to make money, find ways. See Sammy Flex, tell Sammy, I beg you, I get my one Ghana CD, I won't meet Shatta Wale take it and make it just and pay for him so that we can free him out of, that thing. You understand me? If the people is the money that's the money they want, like the way I'm here, me, Stonebwoy, Sarkodie, Medical, everybody, we need to be able to contribute because he's already signed a contract and in the court of law, you can't take cry and the people want to kill me and it won't work because you signed. I get what I'm saying. So it's two solutions. It's either he looks for maybe me and let's sit down and let me give him some experience tactics that we can use and make this music business work for him. Otherwise, then I think the way everybody cares about Kwesi Arthur, who is a very great artist and he's also, putting Ghana on the map here and there and stuff like that, we have to try and quickly find a solution for him. Either we contribute and pay that debt for him, and that is where Ghana music has gotten to. Because everybody is claiming, they are working hard. So if we are working hard, it can happen to the next man. It can happen to any other person. It can happen to me. It can happen to, anybody. So let us also try, and that will be another solution for us to just get him out of that deal. Because any which way that will do, his management team is right. Kwesi Arthur is also right because he signed a contract to work with them. He has things that he has to do with them. So none of them is wrong. It's just that one person wants to call it off. And if you want to call it off, you know the deal already. You have to pay $150,000 and get off. We don't have to cry about it. We are men. We are grown. Now Ghana music has opened to a point that we can support. So this is why I talk about when unity comes like this, when one of our brothers have a problem like this, we should be able to say, Charlie, let's contribute and pay for him. And that is
Read DJ Mensa's post. Sometimes I feel sorry for record labels. They had many business options, many safer investments, but they chose to bet on an artist. Time, money, strategy, reputation, all before the world knew your name. So that was from DJ Mensa.
Yeah.
Ha! It's a lot to take in.
It is.
It's so much to take in. But Lawyer Angela, what could have been avoided?
There's so many things to learn from this. First of all, I want to say shout out to Shatta.
Yeah.
Points were really on point, really on point. I mean, he made very brilliant points. And it's a good thing if the rest of the music community want to support Kwesi to buy out of this. It's good. But this is not going to just happen to Kwesi. It's happened in the past and it will continue to happen.
That's true.
As long as people do not take advantage of the law. Okay, the law protects rights, not emotions. Okay, and the law is there for your protection, but knowledge is critical. You must take advantage of the law.
The law protects rights,
not emotions.
Not emotions.
Yes.
Right.
So get your lawyers involved. I know people hate to pay for services in this country.
That's true.
Because they don't see the immediate, it's not like I'm going to buy kenke and fish and I can immediately eat and be happy and, this is something that may or may not happen to me, may or may not be relevant in the future, but when it does happen, you would wish you had paid for the services of a lawyer. I'm sure if Kwesi is given another opportunity that he would do that. Don't be too quick to sign a document.
Okay.
Any good lawyer, on the other side would encourage you to take the document to your own lawyer, have them review, because if I am drafting for my client, I would put in terms that are favorable to my client.
Sometimes too, from the aspect where this is a desperate artist.
Yes.
He wants to blow.
I understand.
He wants to find himself in a solid place that he can be helped to, get to where he's going to.
Yeah.
And somebody comes with a very juicy
offer.
Juicy offer.
Juicy offer.
And I feel that I need the push because I don't have the money. I don't have the money. I don't have anybody.
Yeah.
What would I do?
Well, they said, maybe I say a little tree. So be about you say, she So, I know that some of the older artists may have made that blunder.
Yeah.
But for the newer ones, you've seen it happen over and over.
Yeah.
Don't let the juiciness of the immediate, take over your future.
Yeah.
Because you never know how big you will become.
That's true.
Okay, so don't take this little 100,000 here so you can buy this big blank and then, you could have done a bit more. So please get lawyers involved. There are lawyers that will do it. Find one that is reasonable.
Okay.
Different lawyers charge different rates. Maybe when you first start out, you don't have to get the most reputable entertainment law firm. But there are young lawyers that are eager and willing to do the work that can protect you as well.
Okay. All right, Tilly.
Yes. What is your question?
So we have just about 2 minutes to go.
Yes.
So I just want you to.
Usually, when an artist, so because of where I work now, you get to see the artist before the fame. And so everybody that's positioning the conversation as, he was desperate, he was, it's understandable. Because for somebody, first of all, they are operating from, or they are thinking from a place of lack and poverty. So for them, $100,000 is big money. It's huge money. They are not thinking of the phase where they will be walking by the roadside, or they cannot walk by the roadside because they are so popular and they don't have any money. They've not thought to that level. What they are looking for immediately is to hear their song playing on Joy Prime. That is their biggest thing. So if I go to that person, I thought that I can get your song played by Joy Prime, but you have to sign this, that. To them, it is a good deal. But he or she has forgotten that after I make you popular through Joy Prime, you need money to sustain that lifestyle. That is when now all the proper plugins should have been done by getting a lawyer to see whatever you were signing, so that when you are tired and you are not releasing music, you still have money to maintain the lifestyle. They don't do that.
Okay.
So my advice will be that there are so many institutions that actually help artists. They will not attend the seminars. That is the problem. They will not attend so many workshops, so many seminars by Copy Ghana, ASOG, Ghana, what was that? Musica. They will not go. They will not go. But you see them on Twitter doing beef. They will not go. They have so many industry people who have, through their pages, shown that, listen, we can help. They will not go. They rather listen to friends and family, the boys around them. Oh, it'll be good. But then they are gone. So it is when they are actually facing the real issue in the real moment, it's when they actually think about who can help us. But when they get the deal fresh, for them, all they need is to hear their songs playing on radio, get some show that they are jumping on for Christmas, and then get a car that they are cruising in. The next thing you see, they are asking the investor, I want to live in Trasaco. Afterwards, they don't care.
My goodness.
Yes.
All right. Our time is up. Unfortunately, our time is up. But it's been a very enlightening and educative segment where we have learned so much. And I hope that upcoming artists have also learned a lot from Tilly and Lawyer Angela. So thank you, Lawyer Angela, for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all that you've shared. And Tilly, thank you so much as well. It's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Asiya Dua Akomia. We'll see you next week, Monday at 6 a.m. sharp. But make sure that you enjoy the rest of our shows right here on Joy Prime. And shout out to the production team, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.